What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Brand Doctor live stream. I'm your host, Henry Kaminski Jr., with my host, Owais Qureshi, my co-host, Owais Qureshi from the Visual Q. What is going on, my man?
How are you, Henry? Happy to be back, man.
Oh, a little rusty
like
this morning. A little rusty this morning.
A little over a week.
Yeah. That's what happens when you take Monday off, right? So today I want to talk about how to guide your customer's journey to buying from you. So how do you articulate your value? How do you get your audience to pay attention to you and not your competitors? How do you guide them along the buying decision so that they're confident in their purchasing decision? So today we're going to be talking about how to guide your customer's journey, and we're going to walk you through some of the step-by-step processes on how to make that happen. I don't know about you, Owais, but most businesses guide their customers like this. They got them going in about 87 different directions, and it really, really is a bad look when it comes to getting people to buy from you. So why do you think that is? Why do you think businesses are more times confusing than they are clear and precise?
Well, build directly into your question, the clarity and precision. They lack clarity and precision, and they lack someone like us to help them guide the way and help them identify, more importantly, help them identify the destination that they're wanting to get to. And I have a follow-up question for you, Henry. What does your business look like when they're going in 5 or 6? Let's show that diagram again. Let's show that picture. What does your business look like? Like when you how many different areas or directions is that pointing in?
I don't know how many countries were there, but it's a mess. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. So how do you create that flow, if you will, to get people to understand what it is that you do, who you are, and what it is that you're selling, and how is it going to help them? What's going on, Amy? Welcome once again to the live stream.
You again, Amy.
Yeah. So let's talk about awareness for a second, and we'll break each one of these down one by one. So let's talk about awareness. Let's talk about social media, paid ads, workshops, live trainings, a press. That's where it all begins. Because if you don't have any of that, then you're fighting obscurity. And it doesn't matter how great your product or service is if nobody knows who the hell you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And on again, you got to stay in front of your customers. You got to stay in front of your prospective customers.
Mm-hmm.
And get them to, again, the first piece is, do they even recognize that you exist?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you the best kept secret?
Yeah. And it's shocking. It's shocking to see a lot of service providers taking social media as a hassle, seeing it as a hassle than it is a advocate.
Yeah.
For their business.
Well, it's become a necessity, right? I mean, it is the new medium compared to all of the legacy models that were available before. I mean, whether it be radio, television, print, now that's become an antiquated sort of a version that, sure, people are still investing into that, but now you're seeing a dramatic increase in terms of ad budget towards the digital media. So, particularly social media. And so it's worth taking a look at, and it's worth either, again, try not to do everything yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but it's worth hiring a specialist that has an expertise in that.
Yeah, I'll give you a funny example. So I have a landscaping company that I've been using for the past couple of years. A couple of young kids. I don't even know if the owner of the company is 22 years old. I'll be honest with you. But I got to tell you, he's a hell of a hustler, and he comes through every time he says he's going to come through. But the funny thing that I've noticed with this particular company, and it's probably 2 years old at max. Okay, so this is a very new company. Okay, they do, landscape maintenance, right? So when I get my fall cleanups and spring cleanups, there's like a crew of guys that come, probably 4 or 5 guys, right? One guy's on the blower, 4 or 5 other guys are on the blower, the back, the blowers that go on your back, and they tackle my lawn in about 45 minutes, right? But here's the one thing that I noticed in the fall when I saw them come. The guy that was riding like the tornado, I think it's called, he had his phone out and he was literally taking videos of his guys working and him on the blower and I was like, this is the right move for them, right? So now they're showcasing their work on social media, and it gives now the audience a chance to see who the crew is, what kind of houses they're working on, because 9 times out of 10, somebody's going to look at a house and say, oh, they do houses like mine. I'm going to give them a call.
Yeah.
Right? So very, very important. Now, going back to this diagram here, right? So we talked about social media. We talked about paid ads, workshops, live trainings, press. Let's just look at this live. Let's take this live stream that we're doing right now as an example. Oasis and I have been doing this consistently now since last April. We're coming up on a year. Every Monday, every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, unless it's a holiday or somebody's sick or something like that, right? We're constantly trying to improve this show for you.
Yeah.
So we started integrating now more visuals to the show. So it's more of a workshop, more of a presentation format. We try to keep them really short, sweet, to the point, so you can walk away from here 30 minutes later with something actionable to take back to your business. So that's my question for you guys, because we're going to talk about touch points in a couple of minutes. What are you guys doing? And I'm talking to you, lawyer. I'm talking to you, service provider. I'm talking to you, business coach. I'm talking to you, painter, plumber, electrician. What are you doing to help you gain more awareness to your business? Okay, let's talk about interest now. How do you generate interest? Through your website, through your product offerings, through your explainer videos. What are you doing? I saw some really cool examples out there I'm going to share with you. Have you found anything? Coming off the Super Bowl being on Sunday and checking out the ads that were bought. Anything tickle your fancy that you saw?
Did you notice? So 2 stood out to me. and okay, so one was Coinbase. I mean, did you see what happened with Coinbase as soon as they threw up their ad?
Well, I know that their site crashed.
Yeah. So they,
Crazy.
they threw up the
QR code.
the QR code, and then all of a sudden, I mean, as soon as people started signing up, or I mean, they just had a massive traffic go to their website, and it crashed. And then the other one, I actually took the YouTube link and I sent it off to everyone, because when I was actually watching it, people kind of turned to me and they're like, "What, are you in healthcare now?" And it was the home test called Q Health, and and anytime anyone sees Q, right, like, I would say probably the last 2-3 years this has been happening. Anything that says CUE on it, people just turn to me and are like, "Oh, wait, what are you into now? What is this? What is it like?" No, man, these guys aren't associated with me.
That's
So I was like,
great.
look, you get a false positive through this test, don't reach out to me. That's not, we're not associated with that brand.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You know, there's a couple things there, right? I love how Coinbase kept it super, super simple.
Yeah.
QR code on the screen. All you had to do was put your phone up to the screen. Boom, you got to their website to sign up. So talk about a simplistic customer journey that they mapped out for everybody that was interested in crypto. Two, people coming up to you saying, what are you at the healthcare now? Just because they associated the word Q
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Brand recognition right there. I mean, you know, the fact that they were already aware of it, they were able to use the two to at least link that to me. So, I mean, again, yeah, I mean, you got to stay in front of your customers and make sure that your brand is recognized.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about explainer videos real quick.
Yep.
There is not one landing page on my site that does not have some sort of explainer video on it explaining in detail the offer on that page. You could look at the brand assessment. You could look at the brand, the influence accelerator. You could look at the brand accelerator. There's always a video there talking about who this program's for, why I created it, what it's going to do for you. And if it's not for you, here's why. And now you have this personal touch to your site, your brand, and there's clearer communication. And that is, I can't stress that enough. The clearer you can communicate to your audience, to your team, to yourself, the better. So I highly recommend taking a look at your offerings, your product offerings, and seeing how you can create some sort of explainer video that's dedicated to that offer. Throw it up on YouTube. And now you can put it in your link tree. You could put it in your, you could embed it on your website or funnel or whatever the case.
And
But
look, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So what I've noticed is people tend to overcomplicate how they're explaining, you know, like you said, explainer videos, or even when they're putting it into actual words, they overcomplicate the offer. And so what I've found to be helpful for me, and I've really just, you know, transmitted that to even my clients, anyone else. It's like, look, break it down into 3 simple steps: challenge, solutions, results.
That's it.
2 sentences for each.
That's it.
That's it.
Too many words people use. And what happens? The words get used against you.
Yeah.
So slow it down. Keep it brief. People love brevity. And use that formula Oasis just gave you. That was brilliant. Okay?
Especially now, like when you're limited on attention, right? You got less than 3 seconds to hook them in.
Exactly. So let's look at consideration. How are you going to get people to consider buying from you and not your competitors? So let's look at emails, case studies, special offers, free trials. Emails, for example. I'm doing something a little different. Here's a little pro tip for you. There's some really good YouTube videos out there. Okay? What I do is I find a video that's got a bunch of gold in it. I go to rev.com. I get the video transcribed. Now I have the text in front of me. Okay? I will dissect all of that text and I will break that whole entire video down until there's nothing left on the bone. And I will create shorts. I'll create live stream ideas. I'll create posts. I'll create carousels. I'll create so much content. out of that one video. And it doesn't need to be mine. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I was listening to my morning meditation this morning, and it was a 9-minute video with Oprah Winfrey speaking. And she was talking so much to my soul about becoming a more conscious human being. And I said, I can use this in so many different ways with what I do in business. I'm going to do this today. And so I sent an email this morning taking one little line of what Oprah said, and then I remixed it and put it in my own voice. And that one little line that she said was, intention creates reaction. All she said. And I was like, that's brilliant. I know exactly what I want to say about that. Here it is. My email was probably 10 lines this morning. And I sent them right to the brand assessment. That was the call to action in the email. And it was so funny. I was doing my role plays with my team this morning. And right after I sent that email, 30 minutes later, I got a chatbot message pinged to me. And I guess the question on the chatbot is, what can we help you with? And what did somebody write in there? I'm here for the assessment. It works, guys. I'm just telling you, it works. So that's just one example of how you can leverage other people's content, remix it, make it your own. I'll be using that 9-minute video always probably for the next 3 weeks. That's how rich it was with the content that was so aligned with my purpose.
I see a pattern in how you're doing this, is particularly because I've been practicing, and I have to really emphasize this. I've been practicing this for the past year. And it comes with a couple of things. One, what you're doing is you're being consistent in your communication. You're sending stuff out, you're posting constantly, but then also you're putting yourself into a mindset of whatever you're reading, whatever you're listening to, you're digesting that, you're gaining some clarity around that, and then using that to, you're writing on it and then creating your own reflection on it and sharing that with people. Mm-hmm. And you turn that into a systemized process.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the pattern that I'm noticing. And I really, that's the pattern that I've even adopted for myself. And what I've noticed is that that's what gets me results. That's what gets people to, consider me over my competitors.
Right. I had an assessment call this morning with a client, and they were struggling with scale. They said they're maxed out right now at 8 clients a month. They want to double their business. So that means they need 16 clients a month. My first question was, with how you're doing things right now, are you even able to handle that amount of client base with quality?
Yeah. That is the first question that comes to mind.
Yeah, the answer was no. So before we run out of the gates, my friends, let's make sure our infrastructure can handle the goals that we want to achieve. That's huge. That's huge.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm not going to go through all of them just for the sake of time, but are you leveraging case studies to enhance the consideration? Or are you using special offers to get them locked in? Are you doing the freemium or free trials that allow people to get a taste before they purchase? And then last but not least, getting them to the purchase. So before we run out of time, I want to talk about touch points. And Awais, you did this so beautifully before we went live. You talked about how many touch points businesses need to have online in order to get them to buy.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that for a second.
Okay, so just to simplify it, we were talking about this whole thing about customer journey. So think about it from you're driving somewhere, you're driving to a destination, point A to point B, and then there's small little checkpoints that show up in between that you want to stop over at just to kind of sightsee. So think about it and visualize it in that sort of a realm, and then think about how you're essentially the tour guide for your client. You're taking them through those steps one by one and saying, okay, well, look, this is the high level understanding of what we do. Now start, and this is why, it's always the same thing. You're also trying to filter through the right client.
Correct.
So at the very top, at the very beginning, you have this crowd, you have this massive crowd that just knows what you do at a very high level. But the ones that are interested, the ones that are really just wanting to a bit more compelled by your message, they're now starting to look at what you're doing, reading a lot more. Maybe they're engaging with you.
It reminded me of the old club days. You were talking, and I'm going back to my old club, the old club days, right? And I was thinking about standing online in the cold in New York City to get into this place because it was the hot spot of the month or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Thank God I knew people. I knew people. But I never really had to wait on those lines. But I used to see those people waiting on lines wrapped around the freaking block to get into this place. It was the people that greased the door people.
Yeah.
The people that supported the promoter for that particular club that always got in without a hitch. They wanted to be in so bad, they'd give the guy 50 or $100 just to cut the line. They wanted it that bad.
Exactly.
They made the investment. Some people didn't even get in. They waited for 3 hours in the freezing cold, and they couldn't get in because they got the capacity before they were able to get in. That's why I always tipped my bartenders. I always supported my promoters. And then I always gave back because I was the guy that actually designed all the flyers for these places. So every third or fourth job I would do, this one's on me. So I always had a good connection with the owner or general manager. My wife and I never had a problem getting in anywhere in the tri-state area because that's how we did business. And that's how I still do business. I always give a little extra no matter what project I'm doing. It may be something small, maybe something a little substantial, depending on the investment that was made. But I always try to give a little extra. That's how you win. But all those little touch points are key. So let's talk about this for a second. And I put this up here, not one of my favorite illustrations, but I'm using it for a specific reason. Because it's a little overwhelming when you first see it.
Yeah. But it's a roadmap. It's a roadmap. That's what this is exactly what I said at the beginning of this conversation. It's like, look, you're trying to get to a specific destination. That destination is for you to get your customer to buy. Mm-hmm. And before your customer makes that decision to buy, you have to go through all of these or most of these checkpoints for you to be on top of their mind and for them to determine that you are one of a kind, not one of many.
Exactly. So I left that slide up there for a little longer because there was a lot to take in. But notice how many touch points there were.
Yeah.
That's what it takes these days.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, going back to what you were referring to earlier about this live stream, there could be people that are at various points or various touch points of their customer journey that are in on this podcast right now. There's someone at the very beginning that is at the awareness stage that just found us just right now, and they're watching this. There's probably someone that's one of your clients that's watching this right now. They're much further down the line, right? There's someone that has already completed the brand assessment or perhaps considering the brand assessment, and they're watching this. So they're different individuals or different customers or clients, prospective clients, that are in different phases of the customer journey, yet you're continuing to create awareness for them. You're continuing to reinforce your message. You're continuing to enforce or reinforce your brand into their minds, so that the minute that they are now considering you or considering multiple vendors out there, if your message is more compelling, you're going to be the one that's much further and much more embedded in their minds.
So I love that you laid that foundation down, because the next topic and the remainder of this video is going to talk about the value ladder. Now, Russell Brunson, I don't know who coined this term value ladder. I heard it from Russell Brunson, but it's basically a step-by-step approach to leveling up your product offering, more expensive, more expensive, more expensive, to help them get the results that they're looking for and to help you become more profitable. So low rung on the ladder is offer number one. It's probably free or on the cheap side, if you will. Then offer number two is going to be a little bit more money. Offer number three is going to be a little bit more money than that. And then your core offer is going to be the most expensive, but it's going to deliver the most value.
Yeah.
So how do you structure your product offering? How do you know what product offering, other than price, goes on what rung of the ladder?
No.
This is when you got to call the doc, guys. Me and my team will get this all done for you through the Brand Accelerator program. But this is where people mess up. They don't have the offers in the right logical space, or they don't have the right offers because they don't know their customers inside and out. So how can you create a product that's going to sell if you don't know who you're selling to?
Absolutely.
And
that needs to be defined long before you even get into the whole awareness phase. That's way before the customer journey. You see what I'm saying? So now, and I've explained this over and over again to so many people in the last week. It's like, look, segmented, it's all phased out into three different stages. First, it needs to be the brand identity. First it needs to be the brand strategy, where you identify those core elements in terms of what the brand attributes are. Who is it that you're serving? How are you uniquely positioned in the marketplace? Then you move into designing a brand identity that represents all of that and speaks to those ideal clients. Then go into the brand awareness. But if you're starting to put all your capital into generating or trying to generate brand awareness before you've clearly addressed the first two phases, you're going to exhaust your capital.
Yeah, and you're going to clog your pipeline with a bunch of people that aren't qualified.
Exactly.
And that's a big waste of time, money, and energy, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So you have to get the strategy right. It was so funny. On the assessment today, somebody asked me, well, why can't we just skip the strategy and just build the funnel? Because that's all really I need. So I kept cool. I looked them straight in the eyes in Zoom, and I said, would you ever drive cross country without a GPS in your vehicle, knowing that you had to be in LA from New York in 8 days? And they said, no. I said, one last one. Would you ever build a house without an architectural blueprint? No. Then why would you build a funnel that way? They looked at me like I was, I had 10 heads, but they got it. It sunk in.
Exactly. I used that second example just this past Friday. Exact same scenario. This guy was sitting in front of me, and he's exact same thing. Do we have to go through this entire long process? Why can't we just skip to you guys putting together a website for us? So, okay, let's say we do that without a good framework behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, this guy's a real estate developer. So I gave him that example. I was like, look, if we were to go build a multifamily complex without a blueprint, how far are we going to get?
Not far.
Not far. And if we were to, let's say you were to complete that and you want people to actually be living there, quantify the risk of that.
Exactly.
You want to do the same thing here?
Exactly. So, guys, we hit this one, almost nailed it as far as time goes. But this is how you guide your customer's journey. You understand where it starts, you understand where it ends, and you understand all the individual touch points in between that it's going to take in order to make them consider you over your competitors. That's very, very important. Facebook user here says, a house without a foundation, you can build one without a blueprint, but you might as well use Lincoln Logs and get the same result.
Yeah.
It's a great point. Great point, my friend. So that is how to structure that journey. Now, again, if you need help with this, this is what Unique Designz does. This is what my team and I built. This is the brand accelerator at its purest form. We help identify the ideal audience. We help build that strategy around them. And then we take that strategy and execute it and build whatever needs to be built. And it's typically customized to you. This isn't a cookie cutter thing. The framework is the structure, but the individual projects, that is all customized to your business. Because I can't do for you what I could do for Oase, because it's two different results that are trying to be accomplished. So keeping that in mind, and again, guys, it all starts with the brand assessment. I don't do anything until I thoroughly assess what is going on inside of your business to get a better understanding of where you need to go. Now, I encourage you guys to go to the website and go to the assessment page. You're going to see a video. I want you to watch that video because it's going to clearly explain what to expect on that assessment call and help you understand if the assessment is even right for you. Again, guiding the customer's journey to where you want them to go. There you have it, my friends. Another one in the books. We will see you on Monday. I know it's President's Day, but I'm still working. Are you still working?
Oh, yeah. We're open. Regular hours.
The luxury of owning your own business, right?
I can't stay away from this place on a Saturday, man. You're
Right?
telling me not to come in on a Monday? Come on.
Exactly. So, guys, I hope you got some value out of today's video. If wherever you're watching, make sure you drop a like, a comment. Tell us what your biggest takeaway was. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell notification, and stay tuned. We have some great content coming up ahead. Again, every Monday and Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, we go live to share with you and present to you ways that you can grow and build a profitable and reputable brand and help you take your expertise as a professional and help you monetize that in a way that feels right for you. So have an amazing day, and we'll catch you on the next one.